Hey everyone, welcome to Old Iron Garage and thank you for tuning in. This afternoon I'm out here in the garage and I am again working on the Bolens tube frame 38-inch cut mower deck. I decided to go ahead and move forward with a modification I've been thinking about making for a while now. I actually have thought about this modification long before I started this project or decided to start this project. And it has to do with the guide wheels. This is not like a major modification, and it's not anything that's absolutely critical, but it's something that's always bothered me. So over time, that steel bushing in there, if you want to call it a bushing, that and the post or the stud, the shaft it goes on, they wear on each other. That usually remains dry and it gets water in there and they rust. Excuse me. And then if they sit for any long period of time, they seize up. I feel like it needs some kind of lubricant slash anti-corrosion something in there. So what better to use than grease? But who wants to take these off all the time to clean and grease these? So if you looked closely when I showed this little piece, you'll see the modification that I made. Let me move it in closer and put my forehead behind it so you can see it better. That's right. Mosquito. I took a grease fitting that I actually removed from the spindles when I replaced those, and it still works, but I just decided to put all new grease fittings in them. Breezy day. And so I used one of those, and I drilled this out, a center hole through there, and then I drilled a cross hole so the grease can come out on both sides at about the center of that bushing, and I made it greasable. You're probably wondering, how is that going to work since there's a little cotter pin that goes through here to keep the to keep it on. How's it going to get past the cotter pin and also not come out the holes for the cotter pin? A little bit of it will come out the holes, but if you use a cotter pin that fits tightly and pretty well fills the hole, you're not going to have a lot that comes out. So, not a big deal. Now, as far as how's it going to get past the cotter pin, you drill a hole, the center hole, for the grease fitting to thread into, and then as a passage for the grease to go down to the cross drilled hole. You drill a hole that is a larger diameter than the cotter pin. So the grease essentially goes around the cotter pin and continues going. Now, I drilled, in order to use a thread tap that is correct for that grease zerk, I had to drill a 7/32 hole, but not wanting to remove too much material from this shaft, I only drilled that maybe a 1/4 inch past the cotter pin. Beyond that, I drilled a much smaller hole. What did I drill it at? I can't remember off the top of my head. It was a relatively small hole. Definitely big enough for grease to travel through, but it wasn't a big hole. I'm thinking it may have been the same diameter hole as the cotter pin hole, which would be Might be a 1/8 inch hole, maybe. But, you know, just if you're going to do this, just use your best judgment. Drill a smaller hole. I would maybe go an 1/8 inch or something slightly larger, 9/64. Maybe no bigger than 5/32. Looking at my drill bit assortment over here. For the cross hole that goes across this way, for the grease to have somewhere to come out, I drilled that about at about the halfway mark from one end to the other of where the bushing for the guide wheel rides. So the bushing for the guide wheel rides in here, and as you can see, I drilled it about halfway. See that? Yeah. For that, I used a 1/8 inch drill bit. I went, you know, again, small. Doesn't need to be real big, because if you drill it all the way through like I did, it has 2 places to exit. Or you can drill just one little bit bigger hole and only drill into that center bore, that center hole. But I did it, I drilled all the way through, so it has 2 places to come out. It would be just a little bit stronger if I only drilled into the center bore and stopped. But I figured, you know what, this is still going to be strong enough, especially with only a 1/8 inch hole through it. So, but now I have a greasable guide wheel for my mower deck. I just have to repeat this process for the other side. But I will have to do an update video once this part. This was painted back here to prevent further rusting, and I ended up stripping that paint off because I had to clean it with brake cleaner, and it kind of softened the paint. So this has to be painted again, and I want to do that before I put grease through this. So I will do an update video later on if I remember to, showing how this works. You know, like with it on the mower deck, and, you know, painted and on the mower deck, and I will just grease it. I'll make a simple video to show you. But anyways, I just wanted to hop on here and just share that little modification with you guys. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found this useful. If you have done this before, or if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button so I know. Maybe I can do more videos like this in the future. Have you done this modification already yourself? If you have, drop a comment. Let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Drop a comment on your thoughts. Yeah, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button to see more videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Later.